Good morning. You're welcome to MIDDAY Television, weekend daily newspaper headlines in review. You're welcome. My name is Chris Ejiofor. We start today's breakfast with the Tribune newspaper. Dangote Refinery, Pengassin, clash over sack of workers. With two riders, union alleges plan to replace Nigeria with Indians. The second rider, company denies mass sack report, says over 3,000 Nigerians still at work. That's coming from Dangote Refinery Management. Then new, on the front page of the same Tribune, we have new INEC chairman must not be partisan, says ADC, National Chairman David Mark. New INEC chairman must not be partisan, says ADC, National Chairman David Mark. Tinubu says hardship will soon be thing of the past. Hardship will soon be a thing of the past, says the president. Check this on page 3 of the Tribune newspaper. I will serve Ibadan with all my might, says Oba Ladoja, the new Oba Coronate of Ibadan, says, I will serve with all my might. Get this on page 3 of the Saturday Tribune newspaper. With the first rider, thanks MKO Abiola, Adedibu for their assistance. And then the second rider again says, Makinde says, all crises are over in terms of the coronation. All crises are over, says Governor Makinde of Oyo State. Then on our second Saturday newspaper, we have the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper, Dangote Refinery, Pengassin, clash over fate of 800 workers. Dangote Refinery, Pengassin clash over fate of 800 workers. This is on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. With the only rider there which says, company says, action necessary to safeguard facility. At the same time, the union of the Pengassin are still raising their voice, warning of the experience. Get this on page 3 of the Saturday Nation newspaper. Economic reforms bearing fruits, says the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, at the main page of the Nation's newspaper. Economic reforms bearing fruits, says the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Say, today I am honored and proud to give you sharing news that the economy has turned the corner. There is a bright light at the end of the tunnel, says the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Economic reforms bearing fruits. With our 3 riders, massive crowd as Ladoja is crowned 44th Olubadan. Massive crowd as Ladoja is crowned 44th Olubadan. And the second rider says, Monarch, I expect creation of Ibadan State before 2027. This is coming from the new monarch, that he expects the creation of Ibadan State before 2027. And the third rider on the main headline news says, our expectations from Ladoja by residents of Ibadan Group. Our expectation from Ladoja by residents of Oyo State. That's the third rider. Get this on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper. You have a case to answer. Court tells Nnamdi Kanu. You have a case to answer. The court tells Nnamdi Kanu. Get this on page 3 of the Nation newspaper. With the rider, orders Nigerian Medical Association to determine whether Kanu is still fit to stand trial. Orders Nigerian Medical Association to determine whether Nnamdi Kanu is still fit to stand trial. 100 feared dead in Zamfara mine collapse. 100 feared dead in Zamfara mine collapse. That is on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. 100 feared dead in Zamfara mine collapse. And with that, we get to the next newspaper, which is the Vanguard, Saturday Vanguard newspaper. Rule of kings, not only to wear beads. Rule of kings, not only to wear beads, acquire women. This is a rider on same Olubada of Ibadan. Ladoja says, as he crowned on 24th Olubada, says the rule of kings are not just wearing beads and acquiring women. The only rider there, Ladoja says, this is a new dawn in Ibadan land. This is a new dawn in Ibadan land. Then second rider says, Tinubu to Nigerians, you are suffering has yielded progress. You are suffering has yielded progress and growth, says the president on the Saturday Vanguard newspaper. This is another major headline about the trade fair debacle. Trade fair demolition. I lost everything before my foreign partners. I lost everything before my foreign partners, says Magnus Ike. I lost everything before my foreign partners, says Magnus Ike. That's on page 12 of the Vanguard newspaper. With three riders. And the first rider says, we choose peace, not violence. According to Chief Herrick, we choose peace, not violence. The second rider, traders, allege selective exercise. Say complex is federal land. Says the trade fair complex is a federal land. According to traders who allegedly lost most of their properties to this demolition exercise carried out by the Lagos State government. While Lagos State defends action as a third rider, Lagos State defends action on the demolition of the trade fair complex. According to them, what they said is illegal structures. But the problem remains. Who are those who are signatories to most of these developments? You cannot allow development to take place over very long years and suddenly decide that those things are illegal structures. I think it also scares most of our foreign partners. Those who want to do business with Nigerians might not be sure of their property resident in this country with such actions. Well, that's the main pages in Saturday Vanguard newspaper, with another main rider which says, how we missed the boat. How we missed the boat. Nigeria's economy at 65. Nigerian economy at 65. How we missed the boat. These are questions that are seeking for answers. Get this on page 9 of the Saturday Vanguard newspaper. Page 9 of the Saturday Vanguard newspaper. Burna Boy raises dust. This now on a lighter note on our own boy, Burna Boy, raises dust over Fela. See this on page 18 of the Vanguard newspaper. Right on the same Saturday Vanguard newspaper, we have Nigerians have lost confidence in electoral process. Nigerians have lost confidence in electoral process, says Itodo. And at the same time, Yaga Africa boss. Yaga Africa boss saying Nigerians have lost confidence in our electoral process. Okay, such confidence has to be revived through the appointment of a new INEC chairman who has to play by the rule. Get this on page 11 of the Saturday Vanguard newspaper. Saturday Vanguard newspaper. Nigerians have lost confidence in our electoral process, says Itodo, Yaga Africa boss. With another page, we have case to answer. You have case to answer, court tells Nnamdi Kanu. Get this on page 5 of the Saturday Vanguard newspaper. Fubura dissolves pensions board constituted by IBAS. The newly instated governor of Rivers State, Similai Fubura, dissolves pensions board that was constituted by the outgoing military administrator there, IBAS. Well, he has to constitute most of the boards. Those he felt he has to work with to achieve a result in Rivers State after 6 months of absence of a democratically elected governor. Since he has come back, he has to constitute the board and make sure that he has people in place who can be on board for him to achieve his vision. I think with all this, we move to the Guardian newspaper. Saturday Guardian newspaper. Tears of children leaders can't be ignored. Tears of children's leaders. Tears of children leaders can't be ignored. Nigeria at 65. Main headline of the Guardian newspaper. That is on page 26 and 27 of the newspaper. World Tourism Day. Special features. World Tourism Day. Why Nigerians rich tourism attraction fail to drive national growth. Why Nigerian Tourism Day. Why Nigerians rich tourism attractions fail to drive national growth. These are coming from the special features that on Nigerian Tourism Day. Mbanefo Nwangu deepen diaspora heritage. Mbanefo Nwangu deepens diaspora heritage with beautification of Gula Gretsch ancestors. With beautification of Gula Gretsch ancestors. Mbanefo Nwangu deepens diaspora heritage with beautification of Gula Gretsch ancestors. Right on page 16 of the Guardian weekend newspaper. Alleged tourism. You have case to answer. Court tells, same. I think a repetition of the major headlines in most of the today's paper is issue of court telling Nnamdi Kanu that he has a case to answer. Alleged tourism, you have a case. Alleged terrorism. Alleged terrorism. You have a case to answer. Court tells Nnamdi Kanu. Get this on page 2 of the Saturday Guardian newspaper. Hunger. United Nations General Assembly at 80. United Nations General Assembly at 80. Shetima to UN chiefs. Meet over Nigerian Security Council's bid. Shetima, that's the Vice President of Nigeria, meets with UN chief over Nigerians bidding for a place at the Security Council. at United Nations Development Partnership. Get this on page 3 of the Saturday Guardian newspaper. Dangote refinery refutes alleged sack of workers over unionism. Dangote refinery refutes alleged sack of workers over unionism. With the rider, Coalition backs company rejects Dapman's 1.5 trillion naira subsidy push. Coalition backs company rejects Dapman's 1.5 million subsidy push. Right on page 3 of the Saturday Vanguard newspaper. Adegbulegbe, a scholar's unique investment for Nigeria at 65. A scholar's unique investment for Nigeria at 65. Inside stuff on the back page of the Saturday Guardian newspaper. New NDLEA sniffer dogs facility will boost fight against illicit drugs in Nigeria, says Boba Marwa, the former governor of Lagos State, military governor of Lagos State, who is now the chief at the NDLEA unit. This on page 2 of the Saturday Guardian newspaper. New NDLEA sniffer dogs to facilitate and boost fight against illicit drug in Nigeria, says Marwa. This takes us to the next page on the Punch Saturday newspaper. Saturday Punch newspaper. Sacked workers still hitting the headline. Sacked workers. With a major rider, Pengassin threatens to picket Dangote refinery over sacked workers. Pengassin, Petroleum and Gas Association of Nigeria, threatens to picket Dangote refinery. With the main riders, group summons emergency meeting, says 800 workers fired. Group summons emergency meeting, says 800 workers fired by Dangote refinery. That's the embargo between Pengassin and the Dangote refinery. With the second rider, exercise not arbitrary, saboteurs targeted, according to Dangote. Exercise is not arbitrary, as saboteurs were the only people targeted, and coming from the Dangote management of the refinery. Sacked workers. Pengassin threatens to picket Dangote refinery. As the major headline of the Punch newspaper. All hail the king, Ladoja. At the corner of the Punch newspaper, Saturday Punch newspaper, says ex-governor crowned 44th Olubadan demands Ibadan State as the first rider. All hail king, Ladoja. First rider, ex-governor crowned 44th Olubadan demands Ibadan State. The second rider, president, 4 governors, ministers, monarchs, all grace the coronation. President, 4 governors, ministers, monarchs, all grace the coronation of the 44th Olubadan. And the third rider says, Tinubu louds Ladoja's perseverance. Tinubu louds Ladoja's perseverance, says tough times are over. Says tough times are over, according to the president. Well, that's it. Why my brother, his wife, 3 children were poisoned to death, says a sibling in the front page. Why his brother, his wife, 3 children were poisoned to death, says a sibling of the victim. Quite unfortunate. Deadly cheap drugs turning youngsters into zombies. Deadly cheap drugs turning youngsters into zombies. This is coming from victims of drug addiction. This takes us to the Weekend Trust newspaper. The Weekend Trust newspaper. Bandits gun down worshippers at Zamfara Mosque. Bandits gun down worshippers at Zamfara Mosque. Get this on page 16 of the Weekend Trust newspaper. How bandits gun down worshippers at Ibadan Mosque. Quite unfortunate. We're still talking the issue of bandits in this country. I think that this get yet to, a lot of things are yet to subside rather than getting traction. Bandits gun down worshippers. How bandits gun down worshippers at Zamfara Mosque. On page 16 of the Weekend Trust newspaper. Sahad billed from my savings as messenger. Sahad, I think one of these will be one of the Muslim Rights Association, saying that Sahad was billed from his savings as a messenger. This on page 15 of the Weekend Trust newspaper. Dangote Group sacks workers. Still on page 16 of the Weekend Trust newspaper. How Dangote Group sacks workers. Then now you know how the breakdown as the major headline for the Weekend Trust newspaper. How foods arm you. How foods arm you. This is a breakdown. I think you have to visit the vendor stands to get this paper and go through the breakdowns on the table of the front page. How foods can arm you. You have things like I think beans, corn, and the rest. Then all this is then you look at the details of how they can arm human being. These are the major headlines on the Weekend Trust newspaper. Investigation. Journalist secures 2 jobs with Oluwole certificate. Journalist secures 2 jobs with Oluwole certificate. Some people might ask, what is Oluwole certificate? Oluwole certificates are most of the certificates that can be traced to the real owners, but they are more or less fixed certificates, doctored from illegal printing markets. Oluwole is a place in Lagos, one of the major areas in Lagos, where that attracted a lot of news in terms of people who forge certificates. It's a place in the island, I think the mainland part of Lagos, where certificates are being doctored. Any certificate you can get in that place. So most of these certificates are now claimed as Oluwole certificates. So imagine a journalist securing 2 jobs, not even one, with a fixed certificate known as Oluwole. Get this on page 8 of the Weekend Trust newspaper. Weekend Trust newspaper. Delegates walk out on Netanyahu at hunger. That's how delegates walk out of out of a United Nations General Assembly when Netanyahu was trying to address the UN General Assembly. Says some delegates tried to walk out. Yes, normally there must be a walkout. Those who never believed in how Israel is fighting a cause with the Palestinian states. There's definitely some people, some countries who are not in line with the Israel doctrine of self-defense in terms of how they conduct the war with Palestinian states. There must be a walkout. I think get this on page 33 of the Daily Trust, Daily Weekend Trust newspaper. Page 33. How delegates walk out when the Prime Minister of State of Israel was addressing the United Nations General Assembly. Some of them make a workout, and well, you should expect as such. That's the different strokes. Now, Jonathan heart in the ring. Jonathan's heart in the ring. That's he has thrown his heart into the ring to contest the 2027 presidential election. Get this on page 7 of the Daily Trust, of the Weekend Trust newspaper. Page 7. How the former president, Jonathan, has thrown his heart to the ring to contest 2027 presidential election. Well, I think he has to come out to tell us. Most of these are speculations. The wife has refuted that she's not supporting the president, the ex-president, going to Aso Rock again the second time. So he himself, well, he has to come out open to let Nigerians know if he's actually interested in that election, the second time bid. Well, all these are more or less speculations, but then, I think with this, we call it a wrap in today's newspaper review on Idea Television. Just make sure you send in your comments, like us, and follow us in all our social media platforms. Thank you for listening, and thank you for watching. My name is Chris Ejiofor. See you Monday.